The Middle East is a region steeped in ancient history, mysticism, and deeply rooted beliefs in the supernatural. Among the most feared and revered entities in the Islamic world are the Jinn, beings made of smokeless fire, mentioned in the Quran and present in Arabian folklore for centuries. While some dismiss them as mere legends, countless people across the region claim to have encountered Jinn firsthand, leaving them traumatized and forever changed. Here are 10 terrifying real life encounters with Jinn, documented through first hand accounts, historical records, and cultural folklore. 1. The Whispering Jinn of the Empty Quarter, Saudi Arabia. The Empty Quarter, or Rub al Khali, is the largest continuous sand desert in the world, spanning parts of Saudi Arabia, Oman, the United Arab Emirates, and Yemen. Bedouins warn travelers not to spend the night alone here, as it is said to be a haven for jinn. In 2013, a group of campers near the desert reported hearing whispers in an unknown language coming from nowhere. One member of the group, an experienced desert traveler, claimed he saw shadowy figures moving around their tents. They fled at dawn, only to return days later and find no traces of their camp, no footprints, no remains of their fire, nothing. 2. The Jinn who spoke in multiple languages, Iraq. In a village near Mosul, an elderly man claimed he had been tormented by an unseen entity for years. His family reported that he would wake up in the middle of the night, speaking in multiple languages, some of which he had never learned. Local imams were called to perform an exorcism, but the entity allegedly taunted them, revealing personal details about the clerics that no one else could have known. The exorcism continued for weeks before the disturbances suddenly stopped, without explanation. 3. The Jinn of Wadi al-Salam Cemetery, Iraq. Wadi al-Salam in Najaf, Iraq, is one of the largest cemeteries in the world and is believed to be a place where spirits roam freely. Many grave diggers and visitors have reported strange occurrences, from hearing names being called out by unseen voices to seeing shadowy figures moving between the graves. One night in 2017, a group of men visiting a relative's grave claimed they saw a woman dressed in black, standing completely still. When they approached her, she suddenly vanished into thin air. 4. The Possessed Student, Egypt. At a university in Cairo, a young woman suddenly began screaming during a lecture, her voice deepening unnaturally as she spoke in a man's voice. She then began reciting Quranic verses backward, a known sign of possession. Professors and students attempted to calm her down, but she exhibited unnatural strength. It took 5 men to restrain her before an imam arrived and recited prayers over her. After she fainted, she woke up with no memory of the incident. 5. The Disappearing Man of the Souq, Kuwait. One evening in Kuwait City, a shopkeeper at the Old Souq market claimed he had a regular customer who always came at sunset. The man dressed in old traditional garments and bought the same items every time. One day, the shopkeeper followed him out of curiosity, only to watch him turn a corner and vanish into thin air. Locals later told him that such sightings had been reported before, of people who seemed out of place, only to disappear without a trace. 6. The Haunted House of Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. In an abandoned house in Jeddah, residents reported hearing furniture being moved and objects being thrown. A family who once lived there claimed they would hear laughter at night and doors would slam shut by themselves. Eventually, the house was abandoned, but to this day, locals say that anyone who enters can hear voices speaking in an unknown tongue. 7. The Possession of a Young Girl, Lebanon. A 12-year-old girl in a Lebanese village near Baalbek started exhibiting bizarre behaviors, talking to herself in deep, guttural tones and refusing to eat. Her family sought the help of religious scholars who attempted a Quranic exorcism. Witnesses say the girl's eyes turned pitch black and she spoke in a language none of them understood. After an intense battle, the jinn allegedly left her body, but she never fully recovered from the trauma. 8. The jinn who drove a man insane, Oman. A fisherman in Oman ventured into a cave on a dare, despite warnings from villagers that it was cursed. When he returned, he was never the same. He spoke to himself, often having full conversations with unseen entities. His family sought help from spiritual healers, but he eventually disappeared. Some say he wandered into the desert, while others believe the jinn took him away permanently. 9. The woman who married a jinn, Yemen. An old Yemeni legend speaks of a woman who claimed she had married a jinn. She would disappear for days, only to return with lavish gifts and jewelry. Some believed she was a witch, while others feared she was taken by the jinn permanently. One day, she walked into the desert and was never seen again. Her belongings remained untouched, as villagers feared the wrath of her supernatural husband. 10. The jinn who attended a human wedding, United Arab Emirates. A wedding in the UAE took a terrifying turn when guests noticed a man in a dark robe standing silently at the back of the hall. He never moved, never spoke. When security approached him, he simply vanished. The groom later confessed that his family had long been cursed by jinn, and they believed the entity had come to watch over them, or possibly to ensure they never found happiness. Conclusion. These encounters, whether supernatural or psychological, remain deeply ingrained in Middle Eastern folklore. Some skeptics argue that these experiences can be attributed to sleep paralysis, stress, or cultural conditioning. However, for those who have lived through them, the fear is all too real. Whether you believe in jinn or not, one thing is certain: the stories of their presence continue to haunt those who hear them. Perhaps the next time you hear whispers in the dark or feel an unseen presence watching you, you might just wonder, are you really alone? Do you believe in jinn? Have you had any experiences of your own? Let us know in the comments.